Openness and extensibility. So how do we cover SAP solutions and how are we open? Also with open telemetry, what is our progress on BTP observability? We'll then reveal our existing and forthcoming AI use cases that are embedded in Cloud ALM, also Joule integration. And then finally, we'll give some more insights into extension partnerships that we have for our theme of Cloud ALM is partner's best friend. And we will round it up with some announcements on our data center and tenant strategy. I hope that you liked the new diversity on stage, because we will continue that way. And therefore, I would like to put your hands together and welcome on stage Sven Schweden. Sven is the BTP solution head at Henkel. Janko Butzig, our chief product owner for operation. Xavier Duparat, our product owner for integrations and APIs. And Nicolas Alec, our chief product owner for cross topics in Cloud ALM. And without further ado, I would like to hand it over to Janko.
So thank you, Mark. Let me start with the coverage for SAP content as well as our extensibility story. We start directly with a full-featured slide. You see what we have to support on the Rise with SAP and Grow SAP side. This is now the consideration from the implementation perspective. What is the message of this slide? First of all, most of the capabilities we are providing in the implementation space are generic capabilities. This means we are in a kind of agnostic for all SAP components, but could be also used for non-SAP components. I mean, whether I'm doing a project in the SAP space and I have certain non-SAP components, the same can be applied for this. You see here some capabilities. These are the black framed, which are content specific, like process content, like test content, like transport management and so on. So these are things where you need really a certain relationship to the content. And you see the other capabilities where we open everything up with APIs. So this means you can then add your content whenever you like, with the existing APIs. And these APIs we have on all the three activities: design, build, test, and deploy, so that you have at the end really complete extensibility given and also the opportunity to support non-SAP components. So this is from implementation perspective. Now from operation perspective, obviously we have to support the same scope if it comes to SAP products. And if we map now the capabilities we are providing in the operation area, we have also certain things which are really specific to certain managed products. These are the ones in blue. This means if you build something in monitoring, you have obviously to do an instrumentation for this particular managed products. And again, as Mark already said, we extended here our strategy a little bit. We are using now open telemetry, in particular for cloud-native solutions, for SAP cloud-native solutions. But the same approach can be also then used for non-SAP solutions. And also if customers are building their own applications with the help of the business technology platform, we can also here apply this open telemetry-based instrumentation approach. But it is true, we have to develop the monitoring content solution for solution. Our capabilities, as you see also in this slide, are generic or agnostic, if you like to say so. So this means events can be handled for SAP components in the same way as for non-SAP components. So we unify this and we provide these capabilities generically. If it comes to content, implementation content, we have at the end 3 dimensions which we have to consider. This is on one hand side process content, this is methodology content, and this is test content. The process content and the methodology content, we are relatively complete. So for the most of the relevant products of SAP, we have it. In the test content, we are evolving. So this is what you see here as also as a summary. So best practice content, methodology content, we support for the major SAP products, test content. You can expect more content which will be delivered as standard content with SAP Cloud ALM. If it comes to operations, we have these different monitoring use cases, plus the analysis use case with the configuration and security analysis. As mentioned, we have to do here really product-specific instrumentation. We have already a lot of instrumentation developed in the last recent years. And again, we accelerate this process with the help of OpenTelemetry, as well as with our new infrastructure called Next Generation Data Collection Infrastructure, which helps us here to accelerate this process. Integration and exception monitoring is typically our front runner. We have around 60 plus solutions enabled for this. At the end, we have to make sure, in particular in a cloud-centric world, that the data is transferred correctly, appropriately. We need here the right instrumentation and integration monitoring. With the others, we have a kind of equally balanced instrumentation progress status, you can say. So step by step, we're adding here the instrumentation, also depending on the relevance and the demand coming from customers. To sum up this, first of all, what is important, not all monitoring use cases are relevant in the same way for all the products. So we have, for instance, products which are more UI-oriented. For them, real user monitoring, for instance, is an important capability. Others are perhaps more API relevant, and for this, integration monitoring is important. Job and automation monitoring obviously comes only in the game if I have background processes in place in this component. Otherwise, it also doesn't make sense to provide the appropriate monitoring capabilities. For non-technical things, business process monitoring makes sense. For technical components, typically we don't need business process monitoring. So it's always an educated decision what need to be supported as monitoring use case per component, and there's not that everything has to be supported in the same way. For sure, the major products like the S4 product with all their different flavors, where we have complete coverage, this is clear, but this is not relevant for all use cases. Where did we invest? One of our major investments we did in the BTP PaaS use case, so the use case that customers are developing their own applications. I think here we made great progress, and we are also here, I would say, relatively complete for all different types of customer-developed applications, whether it's on ABAP, whether it's on Neo, whether it's on Kyma, whether it's in Cloud Foundry. So as long as it is developed on BTP, we have a relatively complete support. Where we are investing at the moment, in particular in the BTP SaaS use cases, so we have some really bigger gaps we have to close. This is in the area of SAP Analytics Cloud, for instance, where we are currently on our way to enable it for health monitoring and for real user monitoring. We develop currently the instrumentation for SAP WorkSoon, portal service, launchpad service, where we need support for real user monitoring, as well as we are investing in DataSphere, which is also our new upcoming and quite successful SaaS product developed as part of the BTP platform. And here we are investing in health monitoring, in job and automation monitoring, and in exception monitoring. So this is what you can expect, and with all our business applications, which we develop more or less continuously. So I talked a little bit about BTP, and you see here all the SaaS products and PaaS products we are supporting. And we are providing the central observability capabilities with SAP Cloud ALM. This means we are focused on problem detection. We like to make sure that if a problem comes up, that it is detected at the right point in time. But we have here an aligned strategy with BTP. So BTP is more providing within one tenant local observability capabilities. So we have here, for instance, the BTP cockpit, we have the cloud logging service, which at the end helps to dive a little bit deeper into capabilities. How do we achieve this? We share the data. As mentioned, we are using OpenTelemetry, in particular to instrument customer-built applications, and with this, we have the same instrumentation in the central observability as in the local observabilities. And this helps us at the end to jump also context sensitively from central to local observability. It's really linked with each other, and it helps also to bridge or to have a smooth way from problem detection to problem resolution. Some examples. First example is exception monitoring. Again, exception monitoring is capability in SAP Cloud ALM, so we are collecting all exceptions you may expose in your application log, and from where we can then link context sensitively to the cloud logging service, where you see then much more details, where you see also, let's say, the surrounding exceptions, also information records, and so on, to deal with it. And again, due to the fact that we are using the same instrumentation, we are capable also to jump context sensitively from central to local observability. The same we achieved in real user monitoring. In SAP Cloud ALM, we are providing the central observability. You can consider this as a kind of horizontal trace, and we are using here also OpenTelemetry traces as the right mechanism to make this happen. And at the end, this helps you at the end to understand whether a certain performance problem is front-end related, is related to an BTP service, or is back-end related to the database or to an underlying ABAP system, for instance. So you have really the complete overview, and this helps you to detect the problem, obviously. And from where you can then again jump context sensitively to the cloud logging service, where you have then really the detailed trace artifacts, and where you can do also a vertical trace, and you see the complete stack, how the different methods were called, and this gives you also the complete analysis capabilities. Again, how we achieve this, we are using the same instrumentation, the same approach based on OpenTelemetry, which make this at the end happen. And by the way, we married also OpenTelemetry correlation mechanisms, W3C context, with SAP proprietary correlation mechanism, what we call SAP Passport. So this is married and comes together now. And something similar we have for health monitoring, where we collect metrics from Node.js applications or Java applications on a regular basis, and from where we can also context sensitively link to the cloud logging service, where you have even more detailed dashboards for root cause analysis. Same applies, as I said before, because we are using the same data, we are capable to jump context sensitively from central to local observability. As a kind of proof point, I have Sven with me from Henkel, who will explain a little bit his story about the BTP observability.
Yeah, many thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure being here today, and thanks for the insights, Janko. I guess very helpful and also useful for our BTP use cases we have on our roadmap as well. So I'm Sven, I'm working for Henkel. So who is Henkel? I hope every one of you knows. Some facts and figures over here. So we are still a family business, large-scale company, operating on a global scale with our headquarters located in Düsseldorf. We differentiate into two business units, so to speak. So one is a classical industrial business, with a focus on adhesives technologies, where Henkel is world market leader. Second, we have a consumer brands business with focusing on detergents, laundry and home care, cosmetics, and so on and so forth. So together with SAP, Henkel is a long, steady customer since beginning of the 90s already. So that means we are utilizing SAP software since decades. 4 years ago, we started a massive transformation journey, a digital one, because we figured out that we need to adapt, we need to change to the market requirements. So what did we do, or what were our main key aspects? First is we definitely wanted to leverage software for our business much more. This meant we went into insourcing case to get additional capabilities for building software solutions at house. Second is, for us, it was not anymore sufficient to look towards SAP as a customer. We wanted to establish and to foster a really relationship with them, to go into a partnering approach. And by 2022, this boosted like hell when the co-innovation programs together with SAP provided us valuable insights and proper output. And this program is called Henkel internally the Digital Leapfrog program. And also here, at that point in time, we also then kickstarted our Cloud ALM journey on the BTP as BTP was growing and growing. So having a look further, as just mentioned, we started a digital transformation journey at Henkel. I guess this is not only valid for us, this is valid most probably for everyone who is here in the room. Every company is rapidly moving towards the cloud. And the cloud for sure is bringing a lot of advantages, yeah, when you're looking towards the consumption-based models, capabilities to cancel contracts on a monthly basis. You're having subscription capabilities. And you can always utilize latest and greatest of technology. Yeah? Well, this is a lot of advantages cloud is bringing. But on the other side, you get for sure a high degree of standardization in the cloud. But looking towards Henkel, this is somehow clashing with the demands we have at Henkel. Why? Because at Henkel, we always are very demanding. We are always looking to the competitive edge. We always want to differentiate. So we asked ourselves the question, how can we evolve? And how can we now combine best of both worlds? Meaning, how can I utilize, on the one side, the advantages of cloud standardization in conjunction with the necessities of being capable to differentiate, to create new business models, to build up new solutions? And the answer for us was quite simple and lean. We are looking towards technology platforms. And for us, it was obvious to look to the BTP. This was roughly 4 to 6 years ago. Nowadays, today, and this is what you can also see from the pictures, we defined the BTP as the central and strategic platform when it goes into developments, into extensions. We defined the BTP as a central platform when it goes into integrations, following an API-first approach. We also defined, meanwhile, by beginning of the year, the BTP as the center of the heart when it goes into custom AI solutions to be built. And we have just recently closed a data strategy paper when it goes into having a coexistence with our Azure platform in conjunction with utilizing now DataSphere and Analytics Cloud. So you can see the BTP at Henkel is meanwhile the center of the heart. And very, very important. Let's have a look onto the architecture to drill it down a little bit. So help me out, I will help you shortly a little bit out with the diagram. So on the left you can see all the various SAP SaaS solutions we have in place, from Ariba, from Concur, from the various e-shops we have in place. So that means we are utilizing SAP SaaS solutions, but there is a high necessity to get them integrated and to get them as well extended and getting capabilities of federation enabled with our SAP on-premise worlds. On the top, you can see all the integration scenarios, be it the authorities, the governments we have in place, be it all the e-shops we are having from Henkel worldwide up and running, but be it also the connection towards customers, but also towards consumers we have. So that means we have a huge necessity to get them properly integrated, to get data from the backend. On the right, and we are not only an SAP company, you can see third-party components. Yeah? Third-party solutions where we need to as well establish integrations, where we need to develop extension points, where we need to do proper federations towards our HANA environment, to fetch finally the data from the backends. And what you can see is that also here the BTP is a center of our heart, with having meanwhile 50 plus applications developed on the BTP, having a 14 terabyte HANA footprint, having 60 million API calls running on a monthly basis. And you can imagine the BTP in the Henkel world as a city. So everyone wants to enter that city, and you have multiple capabilities to enter the city. Yeah? You can whether come by car, you can come by train, you can come with your bicycle, but you can also drive your car whether via the motorway or you come over the bridge. And everywhere, and independent what kind of technology or what kind of medium you are utilizing, you have different rules you have to adhere. So if you come by car, you are most probably allowed just to drive 70 kilometers per hour. If you're coming by the bridge, you can come as well by a truck, but the maximum weight should not be above whatever, 20 tons. Yeah? And maybe we are just allowing just 10 cars per hour to enter the city center. So it means you have everywhere, independent how you are going, different rules to adhere and to apply, that we can orchestrate and manage and observe the BTP as a proper platform. And maybe on Tuesdays, we only want to allow green cars, and on Wednesday, just yellow cars. Might be, but this shall just illustratively show that there is a high necessity to do a central logging, a central monitoring, to implement an overarching monitoring capability with a high degree of an up and running environment towards our landscape. So, and this is how we were then finally looking towards Cloud ALM. Let me just give you some glimpse what we have developed custom build-wise on the BTP, just to give you a more detailed picture, how to come into some tangible solutions. So we kickstarted with Spark. This is our own custom-built trade promotion management solution. Henkel was upset from solutions on the market, so therefore we decided 4 years ago to establish and to build our own TPM solution, now enriched with trade promotion optimizations. Second, we have an R&D platform developed, so an own developed PLM environment, a product lifecycle management solution. Yes, also utilizing standard components and services from SAP, but mainly custom built. We are also meanwhile digitalizing our whole purchasing processes on a global scale, solely with the BTP. And these are, let's say, just a few of these examples, what we are doing meanwhile with the BTP. Every Lighthouse project is meanwhile built on the BTP. So therefore, you can see we have a huge complexity, we have a lot of interfaces, we have a lot of involved parties, which we're gonna need to orchestrate to manage accordingly. By beginning of the year, in order to scale accordingly, we also changed our operating model. And this was as well for us a paradigm shift. Because we have seen that we are not capable to scale accordingly anymore, be it with observability capabilities, but be it also with the capabilities we have in-house in the team. So what did we finally do? We have introduced 3 main teams. One team is solely focusing on platform engineering tasks. So that means they're working conceptually on how do I authenticate, how do I authorize, how do I log, how do I monitor, how do I do FinOps, and so on. They're working conceptually on these components. The other stream is focusing on the application engineering stream. So that means like writing concepts, delivering blueprints on how do I develop, how do I do deployments, how do I do testing accordingly, where are my reference architectures, how can I integrate. This is what is happening in that team. And in the middle, we have our operations team ensuring resilient and robust operations of the landscape. And the advantage of this is that these teams are working closely with the product teams and iterate back the feedback so that we can enrich the platform that can be feeded up as well towards the other products we have on the BTP, so that we are now really running the BTP as really a platform, which was not the case before, because we have now centralized plenty of components and services. And therefore, we had now established the right team in order to look now into Cloud ALM, because also Cloud ALM, we want to run in one central team, with one central unit, to have simplified operations, getting real-time environments, or the real-time insights from the environments, getting proper alerting setting up, getting the operations simplified, avoiding all the complexities we have on the environments. And without having that team set up and now having the capabilities of merging on the one side Cloud ALM in conjunction with the cloud logging service. And like Janko mentioned, having the global observability and the local one when it's going into the issues to prevent specific components, to see where is my issue coming from. So that means we are now combining best of both worlds in that regard. And this is where we are today. We are focusing on the platform side to get this properly observed, but also on the application side, centrally within our team. So that means the end-to-end traceability is one of the biggest pain points we do have as of now right ahead. And therefore, have a look on Thursday, if you have a couple of free minutes. We have a detailed session on Cloud ALM, on operations, what we have done with the business service management, with the real user monitoring, and the health monitoring at Henkel. Developed a blueprint, and now scaling and rolling this out to all the 50 plus applications we have on the BTP up and running. And having that said, now striving into the openness of the platform.
So let's proceed a little bit. So what are our extension points? And also here we start with the implementation part. Let's start with the content, with extension content or implementation content. We have this for the methodology, for the business processes, and for the test content. And at the end, we're providing here APIs so that you can take your own content and can provide this also as part of SAP Cloud ALM. Besides this, we have nearly for all functionality, as already stressed by Michael, extension points. You can always add your own stuff. You can integrate with third-party tools to make this appropriately happen. And we have also certain extension capabilities which are predefined. And this is in particular in test management the case. This is in CIAS the case. This is in transport management the case, where we deliver already predefined integrations, if you like to say so, with other services, third party, also SAP services, but we also provide open APIs to make this happen. Long story short, you can consider your third party landscape more or less as like an SAP landscape. You can use the same capability in the implementation part as you use for SAP, and partners can also contribute here, can provide their own content, and can extend SAP Cloud ALM appropriately. If it comes to operations, I have to wait until this animation is over. So in this sense, it was not so easy to generate this. That's why we have to take the time. So this means we have at the inbound and at the outbound side appropriate APIs. As I mentioned, at the inbound side, in particular, the topic open telemetry is quite important, which is a big enabler for us to get from SAP products, SaaS products, as well as customer-built PaaS products, but also for non-SAP signals, open telemetry signals, metrics, log entries, and traces in a standardized way. So we're really investing here heavily. We have an own instrumentation library, which we're also providing to our customers to make this happen and to lower the barrier, the entry barrier to make this happen. On the outbound side, we have now nearly for everything APIs available. This means you can integrate with ticket systems, you can integrate with task management systems, but you can also take the data and put it in another monitoring solution, if you like to say so. And also in difference to classical solution manager, we expose the data on raw data level. This means every data we have in SAP Cloud ALM, you can also utilize in a non-SAP monitoring or event management solution, if you like to say so. Good. Also here, long story short, we have really a broad coverage in terms of APIs. So everything what makes sense is provided, is also documented at the Business API Hub. Just use it. And again, open telemetry is for us a big enabler to open up in a standardized way. Now we come to the next topic, and this is Business AI in SAP Cloud ALM. I shared this topic with Xavier, so we will do a fluid handover if we manage this. Let's see. Also this we animated a little bit. And here you can now see that SAP Cloud ALM and Business AI comes together. We have two flavors of AI. We have classical AI use cases. This is not something brand new, I would say. So we invested in the last years already in this, and slowly our investments are paying out. But what is new is not obviously generative AI, where we have now also a bunch of use cases in the making. Let's start with classical AI. We have 3 use cases developed. First one is synthetic user monitoring, second is in real user monitoring, and the last one in exception monitoring. I will introduce this a little bit in deeper detail. So in synthetic user monitoring, we have the dynamic thresholding. As said, we take at the end the experience, the user experience from the last 4 weeks and calculate the future. And then based on this, we can determine certain thresholds. And if we have outliers compared to these thresholds, we simply generate an alert, very straightforward. Then we learned that this is not working for real user monitoring because we have not a permanent delivery of data. So we need here another algorithm. We call this change point detection. And the logic here behind is that we simply discover if a certain symptom happens several times, and we also check how strong the derivation from the normal status is. And then we say, yes, this is now really something serious. I have to create a change point. We have a short demo for this prepared. So we start real user monitoring. We start the change point detection. We select here one system. And then we see here the different applications running in the systems. We drill down in one application to make it a little bit more precise. We see here one change point. We see also how often this change point, how often such a derivation was happen. We change a little bit the resolution. We see now even in more detail what is going on. So this is not a change point because it was not happen often enough, but this is a change point because it was, let's say, happen very often. So in this sense, this is how this algorithm works. And again, to switch it on is quite easy. You just go to configuration and you switch it on, and your alerting is active. So you have not to define any threshold anymore. This is the bottom line. We have another use case, which is the AI-based problem resolution. And here we are combining SAP internal sources, and we map at the end an exception with the attributes of the exception to the concrete matching solution, and provide you this already in exception monitoring also to avoid that you have to send us tickets. So let's now come to the generative AI use cases. As you see, we have here several things in the making. We have some use cases provided by partners, like the test case generation provided by Tricentis. We have the generate process models, which is also provided by a partner solution. Then we have several things already developed or under development in the implementation space, like the requirement from fit to standard workshops generation. I think this comes with Xavier later on, but also the generate solution documentation and the guided project analysis. But I will introduce to you another use case from the operations space, and this is the generate alert response procedures use case. And here the idea is quite simple. We are obviously relatively good in detecting certain problems, but then you have these problems, you have generated an alert, and now the interesting question is how you can resolve it. And what we now did is that we are using now Joule to combine the different sources which are available in SAP to a possible resolution for a certain alert. And here we have also a small demo prepared for you. So we start the integration monitoring, the application comes up, we start the alert inbox, we check this particular symptom, this particular alert. We have a lot of details. Also, the occurrences of this problem was several times happen. So we can also check the details. It's all a bit technical, all a bit cryptic. So for a normal user, it's difficult to understand what now to do. Now we click on the diamond, whatever this diamond indicates. Perhaps it's extraordinarily expensive, I don't know. And then we see here, what is the description for this particular alert? And then we get also a step-by-step instruction how to resolve it. And again, you have not to look up now the SAP documentation. You get it directly in the alert, what is going on. And this is also completely dynamically generated with the help of generative AI. And with this, I would like to hand over to Xavier to give you the rest.
Yeah, well, warm welcome from myself, and hello to the room upstairs. So what I will discuss now is a topic which I like very much, is about analytics, and I will talk about GenAI dashboard. So what challenges are we facing, and what are the solutions we want to address with this solution? So in SAP Cloud ALM, or all ALM solution, we collect a huge amount of data, and it's very difficult for you as a customer or partner to derive valuable insight from those data. So usually you need dual expertise. You need to you need to understand the data model behind, and also you need to understand dashboarding tool, Grafana, SAC, or so you have to have this dual expertise. And it's really difficult that we see, this is what the situation we see at customer, that sometimes you need to buy consultant or get expertise, and also you have to maintain all this. So now with this solution, you can imagine that you have a data expert sitting close to you, and he knows your data structures, he knows the data model behind, and he knows also how to build dashboard for you. So this is what we want to achieve with this combination of SAP Cloud ALM and Joule, that we do three things in the end. We constantly monitor your project, your systems, your operation, and we derive action that we provide to you in a Joule way, in the Copilot way. And from there, based on the recommendation that you get, you can extend those recommendations. You can ask, using natural language, how to extend those views. So starting to build dashboard, customized views that would fit your requirement. And in the end, when you have built one view that you like, you can save it. And later, being able to see it in SAP Cloud ALM. So it's used also to find valuable insight and also build dashboard that you report views that you can reuse. So with no data preparation, no coding, no manual steps. So this is what we want to achieve. For this, I have a quick demo that I will like to explain. So we start from SAP Cloud ALM, and oops, I need to start it. Yeah, and we click on the diamond. Yeah. And then we get a recommendation of your previous action or findings in the system. Now I want to look to the system statuses for today. So then I have the list of system and I have the status of them. This is coming from operation. Then you can pick the system you are interested, and then we have the monitoring use case activated for this specific system with the statuses. You drill down and you say, I want to get more information on real user monitoring. Then you get the KPIs of real user monitoring. Now I want to get more information on the response time. So you see, with this operation, you dig into your data, you find what is interesting for you. And now you want to change this, and you want to say, I want to see the response time, but then I want to change the time selection for yesterday. Then the chart, SAP Cloud ALM plus Joule, will provide this. You can also ask the same change, extend the period for last 2 days, but you can change also the frequency, the resolution, the type of chart, column chart, radar chart, spider chart. So you always build the view that you are interested, but with no coding, no knowledge. I want to change also the metrics. I can go to the CPU. And again, for yesterday, then it goes, ask for what is the CPU of the system. So this is one part. Now I want to change to another part, which is project-related part. And as a project manager, I want to see what is the status of my requirements. So I need to ask our Copilot, Joule Assistant, and then I will get the list of, first I need to select one of my projects. So again, he knows which project belongs to you, your users, the project we're interested in. And then you get this bar chart with the number of statuses. Then I will expand also Joule to get more information. Then the data structure is known, so I can drill down either by status, priority, roles, or more. I will select statuses. And then I can again get a chart, a view, a report on my number of statuses with a drill down on the statuses. I can even do something else. I want to have a double drill down by status and priority. And then the chart should display a dual stack chart. Okay. So then from there, I have very interesting information that I can look into. I see that I have approved for deployment requirement, which is belonging to me. So maybe I want to get more details on those requirements. And I need to ask the system, give me more details. And then what we do behind is that we do the same type of queries and we change the layout and we move to a table format with a link to SAP Cloud ALM if I want to approve the requirement. And the end, I like this view. It's the one I've built with this, and I can save it. And now the view is there in the system and should be able to reuse it directly from SAP Cloud ALM. So this is this demo prototype that we have for GenAI dashboard. I think it's something we really would like to build in the coming years. Okay, thanks. So next, go to the next requirement, next AI topic I would like to cover. This is about, there you can also imagine that the time and the cost and the effort that you can save if you could generate all your requirements from the output of the Fit to Standard workshop. So this is a scenario that we are also building in SAP Cloud ALM. So there, this is actually to kickstart your project. You base on the output, whatever output we have from the Fit to Standard workshop. This, we can use it and generate the requirements that you can inject directly in SAP Cloud ALM to kickstart your project. I think it's not only time, effort, it's also the quality and the consistency of what you're going to generate with this. So this concludes the first part of Business AI. I would like to move to the next part. Thank you. So now this new topic is a continuation of what Mark said also. So we believe that SAP Cloud ALM is the best platform for our partners. And if you look to the different partner roles or partner direction from that a partner could bring his customer to, so it could be either a system integrators, an AMS, or an ALM extension or integration partner. The direction could be implementation, operation, integration, extension, innovation. So we provide with SAP Cloud ALM the platform to fit your needs with this. And actually, what we build with the platform from the beginning is, from the beginning, we wanted to have SAP Cloud ALM as an open platform. When we started with Mark, Janko, and Michael, I don't know if Michael is in the room, it was really our goal from the very beginning to build SAP Cloud ALM as a true open platform. And this is why we have now these capabilities, this openness lets us being able to provide such integration, such capability for you as a partner. So now we'll cover two parts. The first one is about innovation, and the second one is about integration, knowing that you speak already about implementation operation, and you also talk about extensibility. So I would like to go to the ALM toolchain integration. So with our openness in the platform, you can see around the surrounding SAP Cloud ALM all the type of integration that we are able to provide. So those are all the system types that you can find around SAP Cloud ALM. It goes from BPMN tools, ticket management system, or task management tool. And for all these systems or services, we provide a set of APIs that you can use to integrate with, and really to build your true ALM toolchain integration from end to end. So this is one part of it. So we provide open APIs to facilitate those integration, but it's not all. We provide also content based on those open APIs to integrate in an easy, much easier way for you some pre-selected tools like ServiceNow, Azure DevOps, Microsoft Teams, Grafana also. So content means it could be a mapping for an API, it could be a plugin, it could be a connector. So it's a lot of possible content that we will be able to provide. So that's where we want to bring you with our API for the integration. Okay? And this is not finished. We are going to provide more content, predefined content. But all our APIs are meant to facilitate this integration. Now let's have a look to the BTP extension. Okay. So BTP plays a very, very important role for our partners. For us also, I mean, Cloud ALM is built on top of SAP BTP, but for our partners, this is crucial to have SAP BTP as to provide custom extension, custom apps for our customer. And if you use SAP BTP extension or develop on top of BTP, we believe that you should do it the right way. And for us, the right way is to follow the DevOps principle. So this is why I put this infinite loop of DevOps, where you develop in agile mode using sprint delivery, and you have this feedback loop implemented with development and operation. And the SAP Cloud ALM in conjunction with BTP, meaning SAP CI/CD, Cloud Transportation Management System, CTMS, is the perfect combination to implement your DevOps processes at your organization. So it starts from the planning on the task management, goes to the development in Business Application Studio or build apps or whatever tooling that you want to use to code and develop your application, goes to SAP CI/CD for the jobs, integration jobs, where you build your artifacts and you run your tests. This is also integrated in the loops. And you can run also your automatic tests from these integration jobs running by SAP CI/CD. Then it goes to the deployment release, and this is achieved with the feature management orchestrated by SAP Cloud ALM linked to the Cloud CTMS. So we have a dedicated session for this. It's tomorrow, actually. I need to look to the app event. So we will demonstrate all the flow, starting from Cloud ALM up to the deployment to your dev, prod, pre-prod, and prod tenant of your environment. And of course, we finish with the part that Janko already covered, the operation part. So we finish the loop. So this was for the... Well, what is the API roadmap that we have? So we already achieved a lot of milestones there since we have started. This year, we deliver the open telemetry part, the raw data that Janko mentioned, outbound traces, inbound logs, outbound logs, metrics, inbound, outbound. So this is big achievement for us in this year. But we are not finished. So what we want to deliver this year are very important for you, I think. It's really API which are waiting heavily by our customers. So we need to finish the inbound trace, and we want to also provide you events to react on change occurring on features or operations, so that you can again plug and react your system to react to specific changes occurring at SAP Cloud ALM. And very interesting also, and I will come this in a minute, this is the ITSM API, also requested by a lot of customers because it's replaced also it's kind of replacement of the item solution in Solution Manager. And this, I will discuss this in a minute. Are we done? No, we still have to deliver a lot. On test management, it's known that we have still a lot of APIs to develop, execution, test cases. And we want also to finish, to complete the picture with the process hierarchy, the features, and the CI/CD. With this, we will have the complete picture. And we will reach our goal when we started, basically that every operation that you can do in SAP Cloud ALM from the UI could also be done via an API. So this is what we wanted to achieve, that we provide you with capabilities to interact in the same way with UI in SAP Cloud ALM and API from your own tooling, your own component, or your own services. I will conclude my presentation with one outlook on the API, ITSM integration, because this one is totally new. It will be available next year in Q1. So actually, we are already experimenting our first version with some pilot customers. So there the goal is that we want to add another channel to interact with the SAP support backbone. So alongside with the traditional, I would say, interaction channel that you have, SAP for Me, built-in support, we will add another one, which is an API that lets you, through SAP Cloud ALM, connect your own ITSM solution to the support backbone. So there you can imagine the type of integration you want to do, but this is something that we will give you this possibility from your own ITSM solution to interact with the SAP support backbone. So create a case directly from your own ITSM solution. But it's not only case management, we are also offering, enriching this API with AI capabilities. It means that all the recommendation and component prediction that we have internally and that we are exposing also via, we will expose via the exception monitoring, we are going to offer that also through the API. So not only you can create a case, but you can also ask the backbone with your case description, provide me a solution for this, a notes, a KBA, to avoid the case creation. And if the notes or KBA doesn't solve your issue, then you go to the API and create the case in the backbone. And then the case is visible the same way in SAP for me or via the API. And this, we have also a very good session on that. It's on Friday with Willy, the CPO of services. I don't know, he should be, hello Willy. Hello, I guess he's there. And it will be on Friday. Then we will demo also this new API. So for this, I would like to thank you. It was a pleasure to present this. And I would like to hand over to Mark for the rest.
Oh, thank you, Sven. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, Janko. I'm really impressed. Everyone is totally in time, right? So I never had that in any keynote so far, that everyone is on time or even 2 or 3 minutes in advance, yeah? How do you like our openness and AI strategy? Does it resonate with you? I think tons of interesting announcements, tons of requests that we got are now fulfilled. But there is one more to come, and that is actually our data center strategy. So which additional data centers do we want to open to be close to your businesses? What about EU access and other topics? And the other one is obviously something you asked also last year. Can we have an additional tenant for our same customer number? Let's hear from Nicola.
Thank you, Mark. All right. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure being here on stage. It's my first keynote, actually. I know lots of you, but it's the first time I'm on stage at a keynote here, so I'm really happy about it. Okay, so we've seen lots of cool stuff. Strategic information, innovation around AI. So I have to keep up, right? But before that, who's got some energy left? Come on. Who's got some energy left? All right, all right. I hope upstairs it's a bit better, right? So let's see. Personally, I'm the last man standing between you and lunch, right? So I'll try to keep that interesting and not too long. Let's go into a data center strategy. So often when you do keynotes, presentation, people tell you you have to tell a story. So I'll get started with a small story about a cloud product which was launched 4 years ago, SAP Cloud ALM. I guess you have guessed this part. And we launched initially in 2020 with only one data center in Europe, right? In 2022, we still had only one data center, but we could see the numbers, really starting to ramp up. And then we expanded. So at the end of last year, this is where we were, with US, Germany, of course, Europe, US, Japan, and Australia. So let's look now into what we've planned for this year. So Canada. Canada, you can see it turned dark blue. Canada has been delivered in early September. We had planned for Q3 and we delivered on time, so I was pretty happy about that. I know this is the MES Summit, so maybe no one is expecting too much out of Canadian data center, but it was really important for us to have it. Going forward into this year, EU access. So now maybe this is more interesting. We have lots of customers expecting that. Maybe not regulated customers because we're not there yet, but lots of customers who have the needs of having data residency in Europe. So this is coming for Q4, high confidence level on that. This is what we planned, and we've completed the internal SAP process. So from this point on, we're good, right? So if it's not Q4, it will be very early Q1, but you can expect that coming very soon. Now let's look a little bit into next year and what the plans are. So China. I mean, we have a global coverage with SAP Cloud ALM, right? All our data centers, except for China. You know that China, we have special regulations. Actually, there are two aspects about China, the regulations and the technology, right? And we need to bring that together to be able to deliver Cloud ALM in China. BTP, the plan, we run on BTP, so we depend on the BTP roadmap, and it's planned for H2 2025. So this is also our target. As soon as BTP is available in China, we will also try to deliver SAP Cloud ALM on top of that. Next one is sovereign cloud. I don't know if you read that in the news in the past days, but SAP announced officially that we plan to invest about 2 billion euros within 10 years on sovereign cloud, right? So building stuff with Microsoft and without Microsoft. So the sovereign cloud is a very important aspect, right? We have lots of customers who are very keen on data secrecy, data residency, of special hardening rules, and this is what we will provide. For sovereign cloud, we have also the challenge that we, Cloud ALM, you know that, Wieland has explained that many times already, we do daily deployment, daily deliveries, right? And this is something that sovereign cloud cannot support yet, okay? So we'll have to bring, again, the two worlds together. We, SAP Cloud ALM, will have to do our part and provide some hardened security procedures, provide more evidence of what we do. And the sovereign cloud team will also have to come our way to allow us to support our daily delivery, right? And this is, as you can imagine, very complex. So that's why for sovereign cloud, at the moment, we know it will not be 2025. I always want to have the right expectations. It cannot be 2025, and we cannot commit for 2026. But nevertheless, it's on our roadmap, right? We are very strategic and great customers in sovereign cloud, mainly think about NS2 in the US. So we're not going to leave anyone behind. So sovereign cloud is on our plate. It's a complex topic, but we will bring that to you. And as I said, I expect that Cloud ALM is going to be the first application on the SAP Golden Path doing daily delivery to be delivered in sovereign cloud. All right, now I often get requests about additional data centers, right? We have countries with special regulations, we have countries with huge number of customers, and here we discuss the topic with Mark, Wieland, and the steering team. And it's clear that from now on, given that we have, besides China, a global coverage, we will go for a very number-driven approach. We will look at the SAP Cloud ALM that we have. Let's say we need to open a new data center because, let's say in Asia, we've reached capacity on our existing data center. So we'll consider what is going to be the best country to open a new data center. And we're going to look at the SAP Cloud ALM customers, the SAP Cloud ALM entitlements, and of course the rise and grow customers. So based on this very number-driven approach, we will decide in which country we want to expand. We have planned quarterly meetings around that so that we can discuss the topic, look at incoming requests, and decide what we will do for the coming years. And one last point about this, there's always special situations with countries with special regulations, and this might address it with a sovereign cloud approach or a different approach which might be yet to be defined. All right, now going to the second part. So Mark already stole part of my thunder, right? Mark was on stage last year, pretty much here, saying that we heard you, right? We want to deliver additional tenants. Most of you know that we had these restrictions. When SAP Cloud ALM was delivered, 1 tenant per customer number. And there was no way behind that. Lots of people asked, can we do something? And we couldn't. Yet, we promised, and I'm really excited. I'm really happy, and honestly, I'm really proud, because we are delivering to you the SAP Cloud ALM tenant extension. Woo! Thanks, Mark. So it's on the price list since September 2nd, so you can get additional Cloud ALM tenants for the same customer number. Let's look a little bit more at the details. So it's more than just a tenant. Actually, we don't want to call that a bundle, but the material comprises the following things. So the rights to get an additional tenant. And by the way, there are no limitations. You can get as many tenants as you need, right, with extensions. Then we also provide you 8 gigabytes of HANA memory usage and 8 gigabytes of outbound API data transfer per calendar month, okay? And for those of you who know it, these are the same usage rights as SAP Cloud ALM standard tenant, okay? But then we take it a bit further. So that allows you to get additional tenants. And when I took over this role, looking into customer provisioning, customer enablement, customer eligibility, I had lots of requests of customers saying, I need an additional tenant, gave a few examples here, because our internal structure is very complex, and we want to model our internal structure. I had one special customer that tell me, for the operations, we don't mix production and non-production. We want to monitor production from one given system, and then we want to monitor non-production systems from another system, right? Very simple use case. We have lots of partners asking for things to experiment, to do trainings, to do demos. We have many, many use cases. So now with that, you can address that and get additional tenants. But it's not only that. We also have customers who are using Cloud ALM extensively. And as you know, we have these fair usage limits for the standard Cloud ALM tenants. With that, we also allow you to extend beyond these limits, right? You can use it as you want and do a combination of both. Let's look into a simple example. Let's say that you're a customer eligible to Cloud ALM. So you're eligible, you have your standard SAP Cloud ALM tenant, part of your support contract, which you already provisioned. And let's say that you procure 2 extensions. This gives you the following things. You are granted the rights to 2 additional tenants, and then you are granted 24 gigs of HANA memory. What does that mean? The 8 gigs which are granted to you by the standard tenant, and then 8 gig per extension. 8 times 2, 16, plus 8, 24. So you granted that, and the same logic applies to the outbound API usage. So what it means is that you can either use one tenant up to 24 gigs, or you can just provision the 2 additional tenants and distribute these 24 gigs for APIs and for memory usage across all these tenants. All right? One important point, I guess that now everybody's waiting for it, so the price, we have a list price of SAP, about 2,000 euro per month, per calendar month. I'm really happy to announce that I have already quite a few quotes in. There was lots of interest. I already got the first quote before I made the official announcement. So keep in mind that if you have a need for an additional tenant, whatever the use case is, now you can have it. All right, so we're delivering what we promised last year. You can come and get it. Woo. Over to you, Mark.
And we didn't forget about delayed production tenants, so that's still plan of our regulated industry strategy. Cool. Another interesting announcement. So now we'll get some final instructions how we get lunch by Ben. Thank you.